Hello, everyone, and welcome to Afternoon Tea. My name is Brittany, where we go over some of the major royal news of the week. Of course, we have Catherine, the Princess of Wales, and her lovely Together at Christmas concert. We had the Royals gathering for today, and perhaps, is there a little bit of family tension between the rest of the family and the Yorks? I thought Princess Eugenie's post about it on Instagram was rather interesting. So we'll go over that. I haven't actually seen any of the coverage, guys, because I've actually been busy all morning doing some other things, totally unroyal related. And so I am sort of still fresh to everything. So if there's been a breaking news story between now and between 12 o'clock and now, I probably missed it. So we will go over all of it, though. We also have, of course, Meghan Markle's sort of dismal Christmas special, actually holiday celebration. Is that what it was? Because it wasn't Christmas. I forgot to do my tally, or I didn't really get the time to do how many times did she actually ever say the word Christmas in the whole thing? I'm not entirely sure because somebody else said Christmas. I'm not sure she did. I'm not sure she did. So we do have that. We also have, of course, as Jill C mentioned, Thomas Markle Sr., I guess, had part of his leg amputated. Very, very sad to hear that. And what that means sort of for again Meghan and her seemingly cruelty towards her own flesh and blood. I mean, it's gotta be discussed, I think. So guys, thank you so much for joining and tuning in this, at least where I am at, a dreary, awful Friday. So it's very, very cold. Very, very cold. So I did say somebody saying my audio is cutting out. If that's an issue for other people, let me know. I changed up my audio cord because I was hoping it would do a bit better. So if anybody else is having issues, let me know. Sometimes it's you, sometimes it's me. All depends. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. And we do have a couple of quick things here. We have Angela Dawn, who's been a member for 25 months. Thank you so much, Angela. Said Meghan said I 99 times in her Christmas show. Oh, that is bad. That is really bad. Is anybody surprised though? No, absolutely not. And John Masood, thank you so much for the super chat. Said, I get to spend my birthday listening to Brittany. Life is good. Why, thank you. Have a wonderful, happy, and amazing, amazing birthday. That's awesome. Hope you got to spend it with some family and friends. Oh, Too Old to Care says 26 degrees in Boston. I'm only 10 degrees warmer than you, but it feels pretty bone-chillingly cold because I was actually working partially in this button-up, but the sweater over top helps keep me warm. All right. So Diane says, let's talk about Together at Christmas. Yes. Oh, yes. So we do have, let me add and pull up Together at Christmas here from the Royal Family channel. And I will go ahead and share it here on my screen. And take it 1 second. Here we go. And I was surprised. Okay, hold on. That went really fast. So Catherine always comes early, as you remember. Of course, it cuts to black, but she always comes early to greet those who are going to be participating in the event. It's her way to chat with them, make sure she connects with them. And so there she is. And then we get a black screen. So that was not a mistake. I was thinking, oh, that's a mistake. So obviously she gets there before her family. I do think this is a fun aspect of this event that Catherine gets there before the family and then the family shows up. I really love the coat she's wearing. She wore it, I believe it was in 2020 or 2021 for Christmas. So, it says 31 degrees in London, cold. Ooh, that is cold. That is very, very cold. Because I don't want it to, today it's in the 30s today, and that feels very cold. And it's also rainy and wet. At least it's dry. That helps. And you can see where the photographers are over there. Aw, there are the kids. I was wondering because it's like there's people who gather, but it is kind of hard to see. Aw, I feel like Charlotte is very much emulating her mother with a little bit of the Alessandra Riche inspired, I want to say it's almost a Puritan collar there. So Louis comes in. Okay, gotta say, looking at the kids' heights here, George is definitely getting quite tall, of course. He might be taller than his mom now if she's not in heels. And Louis is getting quite tall too, because he used to be, I feel like, quite a bit shorter than Charlotte, but now he's almost getting close there. And that's the interesting things about having brothers and sisters is that yes, the sister might be older for a while, but at some point, usually the brother gets taller than she is. So I think that's so cute to see him. I love that the whole family can come together for this event. Although I'm surprised Charlotte doesn't have, let's say, a coat on like mom. So maybe she's not. I mean, they only had to walk from their car to the church. That's not that far, but so they're getting a little things there to maybe add on to the tree, more of a chain. Maybe a Christmas wish they're sharing. Very, very sweet. Sorry, we just had to pause a little bit for things, but very sweet. All right. I love Catherine's earrings. She's wearing those star earrings from the same guy, I believe, who designed her wedding earrings. Love them, the star ones. They're fantastic. Reminds me sort of Star of David. Well, not Star of David, the Christmas star, I guess you would call it. That guided the wise men. I always think it must be very weird to be like a royal child. Do like they know at some point that like I'm just curious when they know their life is weird. When do you like really know that you're very different than everybody else? I'm always curious. Because to them this is normal. This is normal. And this is fine for being their normal. But I'm just curious when they realize this is not everybody's normal. Oh, it says Louis. You can see a Louis. All right. Okay, so she's talking to people for part of it. Oh, there's Kate Winslet. And I know his face, but I don't know his name off the top of my head. You'll have to forgive me. The mother. So that's interesting. So that's Andrew Parsons. And if you're curious, guys, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna guess that is the new lens I just got. It's the one he's using. If you're a member, you know what I'm talking about. I shared a whole kind of members update. And Carol said Chen Fourth, Egypt for I don't know how to pronounce his name, but remember his face. That is what I got. So I won't attempt to pronounce it. I don't think I'll do it right. So he's kind of acting now as well. No, he's been acting as their photographer for a long time. He's just become more public about it, I guess you could say. So Hannah, I think it's Waddingham here. She was going to be singing, but she was filming a movie and she apparently the schedule's been too difficult, so she needs to rest her vocal cords, which is quite sad. She has a beautiful voice. And then we also have Eugene Levy, who obviously did that interview. Well, it wasn't really supposed to be like an interview, but had the conversation with Prince William, where he shared some of his vision for the future and how difficult the last year has been. He got an invitation to Westminster as well. And this is one of Catherine and William's assistants right here. This gentleman, I'm pretty positive. Yeah, I know. That's exactly who that guy is. So now you can get a better view of Hannah. Let's see if we see any of the other royals arriving. Do they have videos of other royals arriving? We do have Catherine chatting with some of the children who are there in attendance. And you can see she's wearing a plaid skirt right there. I think it's a Gucci one. Oh, he looks familiar. That must always be fun. And he's got 3 cameras. Oh, the lens almost ate it, guys. Oh, knowing how expensive all that stuff is, that his lens, I don't know if you guys saw it right here. His lens almost slammed right into the ground. That would have been not so pleasant for sure. And interestingly enough, so Carol says the skirt is Miu Miu. Why, thank you. I couldn't remember. I knew it was a surprise designer. You'd think it would be British, but it wasn't British. And so yeah, that the lens I got recently, I got it used and it had been damaged. And so I'm just kind of thinking of that as I see that. So that is Chris Jackson, the photographer, in case you're curious.
Right, guys, we're going to move you now if that's okay.
And that's Andrew.
Can you just go there? So sorry, we need to move. We do need to move.
There's Captain meeting with Eugene.
Move round to him.
I can hear him a little bit. Sorry, I was seeing, guys, if Miss Pippa came up to join us. I hear her. Aw. Love how we get to meet so many people. There we go, guys. And there's Catherine's assistant. Aw. I wish we could hear more of what they were saying. Oh, those earrings are to die for. Oh, there's Mary Berry, guys. Aww. Oh, here we have some of the other royals arriving. Oh, so we have James Middleton, his wife, and Michael and Carol Middleton. Oh, and they have a nice little, did you see, that was actually rather interesting, guys. I always love these little things where we can actually see with Catherine's assistant right here, this gentleman, he has a lovely greeting and they greet him with a very, like, Carol blows him a kiss. So obviously, he's very close. I just thought that was something interesting. Then we got Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh. Yeah. All right. Okay, so they re-showed this. So I don't think we had a lot of, let's say, royal guests for this time, guys, but very, very nice to see. Usually we have, again, Beatrice and Eugenie in attendance, but we didn't this time. So I just got a lot of curiosity. Okay, so looking through Getty Images now, guys. Let's go ahead. So sorry, guys. Miss Pippa. She is bummed that she is not there celebrating Christmas in London. She'd be such the bestest little Christmas ambassador. Oh, the cuddles and hugs. I've been gone most of the day, so she's kind of like a little bit clingy. There we go, baby girl. It's kind of hard to do this and talk at the same time. All right, so let's move over. I'm just curious here. We're going to go over to Getty images to see what else maybe we might have missed, because I didn't see. Usually Zara attends, Zara and Mike attend, Peter Phillips has attended in the past, obviously Beatrice and Eugenie, and a lot of other members of the family. Charles and Camilla attended the first one in 2022, but I don't think we've seen them since, or maybe it was 2021. Either way, they did attend. They haven't this time. I think Sophie was the only other member of the royal family who attended. So I find that to be very curious. I'm just curious why. And we'll get to the Beatrice and Eugenie side, but we do have the pictures here. Here's Hannah arriving, Catherine looking great in the coat. And so it looks like Charlotte's dress is a little bit, she's giving the cameras a look there. You can tell she knows she's being photographed and is kind of up on it. Oh, and we got a little, very pretty picture of Charlotte smiling there in the Middleton clan. Couple of very nice pictures of Charlotte. Oh, okay, we have Lord and Lady Frederick Windsor. They arrived and were there with their 2 daughters. So guys, if I click on the pictures to enlarge them, it actually goes to a different window. So that's why we're just doing it this way. And so, yeah. Oh, looks like a wonderful. Oh, and the Duke and Duchess of Gloucester were there as well. I was like, I knew there had to be more members of the family, but I just hadn't seen them. So Lord and Lady Frederick Windsor we have right there. Milton's getting stuck in a little bit of rain and wind there. Ah, and Lady Helen Taylor. That is the daughter of, so she is over here. That is the daughter of the Duke of Kent. We had the Duke and Duchess of Gloucester here. And as the family leaves. Oh, there's Mike and Zara. There we go. Oh, Zara looks smashing. I love that look. I knew they had to be there. I knew there had to be more people here. I'm like, why aren't we seeing more in the video? But very, very exciting, obviously. Glad to see such a strong turnout again for this lovely, lovely occasion. I think this is probably one of Catherine's best additions to the royals in so many ways, because I feel like obviously it brings people together. It's something very simple and very exciting. I'm going to see who this gentleman is. Okay, I don't know. But I think this is just such a fantastic, fantastic event. Great community outreach and upreach. And we do have, yes, that is Prince Michael of Kent right there. He's looking a little bit more frail. That's sad to see. That's sad to see. There he is as well. He always reminds me, because he looks so much like, and there's Catherine and Eugene Levy. He always looks like Tsar Nicholas II. And so love that family connection there that we can see. So no Pippa this evening. Well, Pippa Matthews, technically Matthews. Okay, there's Zara and Hannah Waddingham. I feel like Zara and Hannah have very similar looks here with the short bob. The bob really works for Zara, really works for her excellently. Oh, that's such a pretty picture. Such a great picture of Catherine, this one. I love it so much. Again, love the earrings. I feel like it's perfect for tonight. And just so lovely to see everybody together, everybody happy. I feel like this sort of event is so uplifting to people. And I was able to watch it the first year. Maybe we'll figure out a way to watch it together. This year, it would be after Christmas, because we won't really be doing anything on Christmas. I know some people do that sort of thing, but that's not what I'm going to do. But I am just so excited that we got to see this event again, and everybody's showing up to support. Diz Fan gave a super chat. Thank you so much, and said, I love teaching and showing the little ones in my family about the British royals, the Christmas crackers, etc. Wish they would air this in the US. Yes. So at least when I was the first year it was on, I believe it was, you could actually, if you have the BritBox, it was there. So BritBox, not sure if it's on my my phone or not. So I will have to look. I'm not sure if it was available last year though, which is a little bit sad. So it's one of those ones that's just Very, very exciting. And so it's always fun to see for sure. And I'm so excited that Catherine, we just got to see everything and it was amazing. It was just so amazing. So glad we got to enjoy. I'm so glad we got to enjoy. All right, guys. So we will see obviously the full thing on December 24th. But I did want to share again something rather fascinating here, which is, of course, how Princess Beatrice reacted, which I found again very interesting. So she's the only one between the two York sisters that does have a public Instagram. And she said, because it almost feels like they were asked maybe not to attend or decided it was best not to attend. And so it says here, wish B and I could have been celebrating tonight with our family, wishing the Prince and Princess of Wales such a special evening at her incredible carol service. What an amazing message of hope and love. So it's just, I find this very interesting. So guys, let me know what you guys think, because the sort of the way I read it is a little bit like they wanted to go and couldn't. And not that they didn't want to go and couldn't because of something else, but they felt pressure not to go. And so, or they thought it was best, given all the scandals surrounding their father, to not go to the Christmas service. So they did make, so it's just, it seems very strange. So it's just hard not to read into this just because of what all we know with Andrew and Sarah. It's just really, really hard not to like think of something that's maybe deeper going on. So curious, but it seems like it's both of like they felt like they couldn't go, but at the same time they wanted to make sure that they supported it. So it could be interpreted in a variety of different ways. I guess I'm automatically thinking a little bit negative, but it could be totally fine and above board. But I just thought it was an interesting thing to include, because I think the York sisters have attended every year. And one of the things I've talked about with Andrew, and I still find this to be insanely true, and something I'm really wanting people to grasp onto in a lot of ways, is that the royal family, they are a family. And you should be allowed to go to family things, even if, let's say, you're sort of persona non grata. Because I don't think it looks necessarily good either to, let's say, completely shut Andrew out of family life. I don't think that's good. Yes, he is a bad for their image, but I also feel like they look bad, the royal family does, if they sort of kick him out on his keister and never look at him again and, kind of shove him into obscurity. Like, I know that's somewhat what they need to do, but how do they do that without seeming cruel? And so I think that's a challenge too they're having with Beatrice and Eugenie, is that they are like connected with their father. They can't help that they're his daughters. They can't help it at all. And it's totally unfair to, let's say, quote unquote, punish the daughters for the sins of the father. So let's see. Clifford said they already had engagements for this evening and couldn't make it. Rebecca English and Richard Eden mentioned it yesterday. So I'm glad that it seems to be that is the case, like a positive reading of it. But for the girls right now, I think it's very much a time of they have to be rather careful. They definitely have to be rather cautious in how they're approaching things, because they're sort of at risk right now and they're under a microscope, and it is unfair. But you want to be very kind of conscientious of pretty much everything you're doing, because if you don't, it does, let's say, push back on you. And yeah, it's just kind of, I think the royal family again, and this is a good thing for Harry too. How do you separate in the institutional sense of the monarchy and yet also maintain a good relationship with your family members? And that will be hard. So if Beatrice and Eugenie are stripped of their royal titles, it really will be hard for them to recover. It will. And so I don't know exactly how they'll do it, But this is sort of the kind of, I think, the testing period of how this can work, because they need to, again, I like Beatrice and Eugenie, and I think that they really haven't done anything wrong, yet at the same time, I think they'll be caught in the crossfires of everything going on with the monarchy overall, what their father has done, what their mother has done. Everything will be caught in the crossfires, and they'll probably lose their titles too, I think, at some point. I think so. So my cat's name is Karen, says, Palace Confidential said the entire royal family is getting a review of their housing situation and finances because of Andrew. Yes. So we talked about that actually on the Crown Report. So it's an overall investigation into everyone. And I think there's been speculation that William, I guess, wants to go through Beatrice and Eugenie's finances to make sure it's all, allegedly above board or whatever. But I personally think that if you're going to investigate Beatrice and Eugenie, you really do need to investigate everybody. You need to investigate everybody. This needs to be, I would argue, fair, because really the only way they're punishing them is because of their dad. And so to have, I think, a fair evaluation of everyone, I think would be in everyone's best interest. However, we don't know, let's say, exactly what that might look like. And again, I'm just so hesitant to get into things where everything's a retaliation, everything's a slight type of thing, because I just don't think that's healthy, nor do I think that's actually helpful. So we'll see how this progresses, but I do think the girls are most likely trying to consider what the future holds. The palace is looking at the failures with Andrew, and obviously about Harry as well. And Harry is obviously, with the whole Stephen Colbert thing, is just an absolute travesty. It's like, oh gosh, it's so terrible and awful and so many things. And he looked awful doing it. It was just simply horrific. And they do have to, I think, look at and consider what is the best for the monarchy. How do we move ahead to the future and prevent things from the past from happening again? And so there's, so many factors here. Obviously, Andrews could be in the more criminal realm, but I think honestly, in some ways, Harry and Meghan's stuff is more damaging reputationally. Some people say, oh, it really is Andrew. And it's like, not so much, because Andrew, at least a lot of his sins he's committed have been in the past, and he's been quiet for a long time. But we have a constant barrage with Harry and Meghan, constant barrage of information, of slights, of digs, and constantly. And that erodes trust, that erodes the foundations of the monarchy, which it needs. It really does need. And so if they, kick them out unceremoniously, I just don't think it is a proper way to address things. But again, lots going on here, lots of change, I think, and growing pains are always tough when you make big changes. And this happens in companies too, because we have to remember, and I think sometimes we forget, that because of Queen Elizabeth's death, we're seeing a brand new, let's say, management come in. So it's like when this former CEO is out and the new CEO is in. Usually there's remnants of the old CEO in the cabinet and various things. Oftentimes those people are sort of siphoned out over time. And there's friction between the old guard and the new guard. And so I think we're seeing a little bit of this play out right now already. And it's something that needs to happen. And I think it has been to the British royal family's disadvantage to have such a long reign with Queen Elizabeth, because I feel like they're almost having to catch up to the times. And I think there's this tension between kind of Charles wanting to stick with the old ways, William wanting to adjust faster. And so you had this conflict that is developing. And this is why I think voluntary abdication is a good process to begin within a royal family, because I think it results in a nice change where the old guard is still around, but the new guard is in charge. You get sort of this nice transition. And I feel like it revives the monarchy in a way, with still having the reputation of the previous king or queen impacting the new king and queen. Sometimes it's positive, sometimes it's negative, but it can help as well. So I think this is a time of growing, time of changing, but I think it's all in good directions. And I think Together as Christmas is a wonderful initiative. I think it's something that brings the country together. And especially when you think of the UK and all the immigration. And, I think a lot of you in the UK would agree, a lot of the cultural changes and these sorts of things. I think it's good to remind people, you know, from the heart of it for a long time, the UK has been a Christian nation. Let's celebrate our Christian heritage here. I think that's obviously it's not fully what Together at Christmas is, but I think it's really, really been a positive thing and just a happy thing. This is not going to generate, it generates always headlines when people arrive, but it's not something that's, let's say, going to be gangbuster or flashy or anything like that. And that's not the intention. And I think that's what's so great about the Royals is they're not doing things for the attention seeking. Yes, sometimes there is aspects of that if they're trying to raise awareness for a particular, let's say, cause or let's say disease or something like that. They do need attention because they want people to reflect on this particular situation. However, when it comes to sort of the monarchy here, I think sort of the big thing is that it's just a positive thing that's not there for headlines, not there to grab attention. It's just to make people feel the warm and fuzzies. And I think that's an awesome thing to have. I really do think that's an awesome thing to have because not everything needs to be flashy and gangbuster and all about the ratings and these sorts of things. I think there can be things that are beautiful that, yeah, not everybody sees. I'd like some of my favorite videos are sometimes some of my least viewed videos, but I still love those videos. I still am passionate about what what happened. It's always a bit bummer that they don't do better, but I'm like, oh, okay. You know what? Life is that's life sometimes. So, anyways, guys, I am so excited to see the full reveal of what the choir service looks like and the event. So, guys, especially with the acoustics in Westminster Abbey, as in any older church, they're just incredible. So, hope, hopefully, we'll see that sometime later this year. So we do have Hannah here who gifted one Royal News Network membership. Why, thank you so much, Anna. That is super sweet of you. And we have Diz Fan who asked, I wonder if they won't do the walk on Christmas. This is another interesting question regarding Beatrice and Eugenie. Will they do the Christmas walk at Sandringham? Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure, to be quite honest. I could see them, yes, doing it and yes, no. Because again, the girls have a challenge too here. This is a big challenge for Beatrice and Eugenie. Is that do they can still like again, don't cut your father out of your life. There's not really a reason to cut him out of their lives. Do they publicly try to side as much with the royal family as they can, or do they try to somewhat stick with their parents? Because the tension here is they are not their parents. Have not really done the things that their parents have done. They are innocent in this scenario in terms of whatever improprieties Andrew did and Sarah as well. So why should they be punished for something they didn't do? But at the same time, they also want to be their parents' daughters. They are daughters to Andrew and Sarah. And so they want to maintain that relationship and that balance. And again, I find that to be something admirable, but also an immense challenge. This is not going to be easy to navigate. It's going to be hard for them now and in the future. I just don't know what the future holds for them at this point. I wish them all the best. I hope they are able to navigate this with absolute grace. But yeah, they are in a tough spot, I have to say. Heather, thank you so much for the super chat. Here said, supposedly Harry is urging Meghan to reach out to her dad. Not sure if I buy that or not, but I can actually see Harry being the slightly more reasonable one here. So this is in regard, and we can sort of move on to the topic of Thomas Markle Sr. And this was very, very sad to hear, especially because he's in the Philippines. Excuse me. I don't know how good the medical care there is. Some convinced him to go because it's like cheaper to live there. Has it been really all that helpful? I don't know. But when it comes to this Thomas Markle situation, all I can think about in some ways is paparazzi stroll for thee, but not for you. Meghan Markle's whole reason for cutting her father out of her life initially was the paparazzi pictures. Oh, he gave interviews. He did paparazzi strolls. Oh, I can't associate with him. He can't be here. He can't be invited. Like, Allegedly she tried to like kind of communicate, but then she obviously very publicly, or at least wanted it publicly, she sent him a letter stating that she just didn't support, like she was so angry with him and like saddened about the dissolution of the relationship. And it was basically a Dear John letter, a goodbye letter. And now we have this obviously more detrimental situation. So, is Harry, as Heather asks here, helping Meghan reach out to her dad? I don't know if I totally buy that, because here in Harry's instance, he has no relationship with his father-in-law. He doesn't know him, doesn't know who he is, has no experience with him. And so it's harder in that instance in some ways to reach out, because it's like he doesn't know him. Like, why would Harry care? Because Meghan has never given him a reason to care about her father. She's never given him a reason. So in some ways, Harry is like, I just don't see him being all that engaged or caring all that much, because Meghan has made a relationship between them so impossible that it's hard sometimes to have sympathy for somebody you don't know. And like, she's made the relationship with him obviously quite negative. So I don't know where that goes in the future. So, but very sad to hear that he had part of his leg amputated. If you don't know, that's sort of what we're talking about here. And that's obviously very extreme, very difficult, you could say, to recover from. And so I don't know where he if he recovers or not. But here's the thing for Meghan, regardless. She looks bad. She looks bad no matter what. She looks bad. When somebody is having, let's say, a detrimental health emergency, like if you are their child, if you are their like part of their family, you reach out. You reach out. And she needed to, and I think honestly, the only way Meghan Markle will ever have her reputation ever recover, ever, if it's ever going to, it is only if she reconciles with her father and the royal family. Meghan Markle will never, ever reach, you could say, the heights that she could without making amends with those two sides. And I don't see her doing either. And she sees her father, I think, as beneath her. I think she's always seen him as beneath her. And what's, I think, particularly disgusting is that her father didn't fit her narrative of this poor girl who's, didn't have any money, and, getting Subway was a big deal and all these sorts of things. And like, she had to like create Subway sandwiches at home, because she couldn't go out and buy Subway, she was too poor. And so she's like really kind of always slighted him in a lot of ways, because he's the one who raised her. Her mom was gone. Like, she admitted recently in that Harper's Bazaar interview that she got interested in motherhood based on watching women on TV be mothers. I know people who've experienced really difficult homes, and it was a family show on TV that was sort of the example of what they wanted their family life to be like. Not their actual family life that they had, but the one they aspired to, because they didn't have it in their own life. So they aspired to see it on TV. Meghan's mom was not there in her life. I'm not saying she was in jail. I'm just saying she was a disconnected mother. And so in some ways, I'm sure Meghan is sort of emulating her mom, because I think she's somewhat a disconnected mother as well. Because I think honestly, Meghan's not like, she's not going to win Mother of the Year awards. I think she kind of feels like she sucks the life out of everything, and she's not very fun. So her poor children, I think her poor children, like that advent calendar, my mom was talking to me about it. And she's like, she's writing notes to these kids. And she's like, I love you because of such and such. Not just I love you. Because that's a big difference, because it's not because of something that I love you. It's because of you that I love you. And what I found was interesting too, is like, she's writing these notes for her kids. And at the time she was writing them, when she was initially filming With Love Meghan season or whatever, this holiday special thing, is that she, like, they were 3 and 5. Like, why would in the world would a 3 and 5-year-old connect to, oh, you are so brave. I love you because you're so brave. Like, who would connect to that? Like, really? Sorry, guys, my nose is starting to like run like a faucet. I am trying to get like my allergies under control. Like I'm trying to do Claritin and a bunch of stuff. It's just not working. So I might have to go actually to the doctor about it. So I'm sorry for the aside, but that's sort of the reality of my situation right now. So Alice says as well, the Advent notes are in addition to the daily emails. Yeah, it's just like really, really, it's so weird. Megan's a weird person. I'm sorry, guys. She's a super duper weird person. And I say that not to be rude, but just as an observation. And so she's in this sort of, you could say, she's distanced herself from her father over a very stupid reason and never tried to reconcile with him. You know, she was mad that he would talk to the press and stuff. But the thing is, she talks to the press too. She does paparazzi strolls too. She is doing the exact same thing she criticized him for and doesn't have a relationship with him for. And so it's like she's a hypocrite. She's a two-faced hypocrite. And she does one thing and demands people do another. And so she has created again this kind of toxic dynamic, and she's kind of toxic poison, I think, to everybody she has a relationship with in one way or another. Wherever this one goes, disaster follows, basically. And you only have that if you are the problem. That's the only way you experience this. If you are the problem, that is where issues come up. So Meghan being a disaster zone, you know, globally, basically, wherever she goes, disaster follows. It's a Meghan issue. It's not anybody else's issue. It's a Meghan issue. So when we're thinking about this situation with her father, she should reach out to him. She should connect with him. She should, regardless again of whatever quote unquote crimes he committed. And she was praising him up until she met Harry. So here's the reality. We have two different sides to Meghan. Again, she's a massive hypocrite. We have the pre-Harry Meghan, who had seemingly a good relationship with her dad. He went to her wedding, her first one. They seemed close. She praised him on her blog. And then post-Harry, totally different relationship. And she was, you know, quote unquote famous both times. Like obviously one time more famous than the other. But what's just insanity to me is that she obviously changed up her narrative to fit her situation. This is why you really can't trust Meghan Markle. You can't work with her. I just don't think there's some people, like I'm thinking a particular person in the public sphere. It's like it would be interesting to debate them, but you couldn't actually debate them because they don't debate in good faith. They will throw out wild accusations. They'll be all over the place. They'll challenge you about evidence, and then when you demand that evidence, they say, "Well, you have to prove evidence to demand me to prove it." Like the very circular logic. And I feel like Meghan is very much the same way. And she hated, absolutely, like, just hates so many things. So we do have somebody who said here, Nix, thank you so much for the super chat. Said GB News are reporting that Meghan has reached out to her father via her spokeswoman. That you have to say that, I think reveals part of the problem. Very much part of the problem. And I imagine it's true, but I don't, let's say, necessarily say I totally trust all of GB News. But if she has had good, but the problem is that I just don't think it'll be enough. She really has to like truly make amends. And the part of the thing is for Meghan is that she can't make amends with anybody because she can't admit she ever did anything wrong. She is perfect in the eyes of herself, and we should see her as perfect. And if we don't see her that way, I think she gets upset and angry and frustrated because we don't live in her delusion with her. Now, to be fair to her as well, when it comes to her family, they have talked to the media, perhaps a little bit too much and in a way she didn't like. I understand that. But what I always found sort of interesting, because if I was, let's say, dating a prince, which I'm not, but if I was dating a prince and it was a very famous person or whatever, you know, I might evaluate my family members and decide, you know, maybe there's a person or two that maybe, hey, like it would be better if I got them maybe under an NDA or something. I really don't think I need to do that. But like to avoid particular situations, I would give them some money, have them sign an NDA, and like that be the end of it. Like figure out how to do that. She hates the Markle side so much, she didn't even care to try to get them, let's say, on her side. She thought they were so unproblematic or so like couldn't touch her that she didn't even deem it necessary to communicate with them. Now, I'm not a Markle fan overall, like generally of the whole family. I'm just not, because I don't think any of them have played this particularly well. But at the same time, she should have figured out how to manage them better and not just treat them like trash. Basically, she treats her family as disposable trash that is too beneath her to speak to. And that's like just kind of disgusting. She should be able to like talk to them. So it does say, so this is from Royal Nika, who's from the Times. Meghan has reached out to her father, Thomas. Sources close to Meghan say she has tried to reach out to him since her wedding in 2018. I don't believe that for a second. And part of the reason I don't believe that for Meghan is that Meghan didn't want her father deconstructing, or even by accident, deconstructing the whole narrative she spun for Harry about her life, her childhood, and everything. Because her mom is totally willing and on the grift. Her mom is on the grift. Her mom, I don't think, has a lot of scruples. I don't think she cares. I think she wants some money, and I think she's willing to say anything and do anything to keep that connection. Her mom, like if you're a mom who abandons your kids when, they're young and goes away and just like drops them off at your dad's house, the dad's house, and like never comes back or something, she's not really a motherly figure. I don't think she has much of a maternal bone in her body. Again, Meghan, her example of mothers are television show moms. Television. So I think when it comes to that, her mom was totally willing to be on the grift. I never understood people's like going, oh, Doria, she's so regal. She's so lovely. Like I saw a lot of this. I mean, it's changed a lot since then, but I saw a lot of this around the wedding and even a couple of years after. And I'm like, why are you praising this woman? She's obviously in on it. Like there's no way she's not in on it. So, and Meghan's only reaching out now because it's so bad that she has to. And she should do better. She should do better. She should introduce her kids not only to their paternal grandfather, but also her, their maternal grandfather, but also their paternal grandfather. She deliberately keeps the kids away from the other parents. And she just doesn't seem to care. And when they say she reached out, it's probably just through her spokesperson or something. She didn't directly communicate with him. I doubt it. I doubt she cares enough to. He doesn't fit her world. He doesn't fit what she envisions for herself. And ergo, you could say in some ways that Meghan hates half herself because she hates her dad. Now, I'm using hate. She probably doesn't hate him, but the way it's you could say perceived is that she extremely dislikes her father and likes her mother. But that's just not a good thing. That's just not a good thing at all. So, he will have a long recovery. I mean, if he recovers, honestly, if things are getting this bad, he probably is within the last year or so of his life. Like he could recover, but given his age, I'm not sure how old he is at this point. So is he close to 80? He's 81. Honestly, like I'm not trying to be rude or pessimistic or anything. I'm just being rational here. I just don't think he probably has much time left. And so, yeah, he'll probably, she won't really fully reconcile with him, most likely. But I don't think she ever cares to. Unless the publicity works well for her, she won't. She will never fly to the Philippines to visit him. Never, never, ever. She won't pay for him to fly out to the US because that's, money she can't spend on Cartier jewelry. And the only reason we can kind of say this somewhat with a level of confidence is based on, again, her own behavior. All we're doing, I feel like, when we kind of are critical of Meghan and showing up different things is that it's just demonstrating her pattern of behavior. Her pattern of behavior is fairly horrible. And I just don't think, again, she ever cares. But this is what the Times says. So this is from Kate Mancy, who says, Meghan tells staff to find out if reports are true that her father is ill, but they must find out by other means other than contacting him directly. She doesn't want them to contact him directly. So she just wants to. So this is what Meghan spokesperson told the Times initially, I guess. So they said here, we'll show it. Spokesperson said, "We have been trying to understand the veracity of the claims made in the Daily Mail, but we have not been instructed to reach out to her father." He added that they have been instructed to clarify the reports by other means. And so life-threatening surgery. So she doesn't want to risk it being true and not doing something, but she also, I don't think, cares enough to really find out if it's true. And honestly, all she had to do was share, let's say, a little bit of the Mega Millions she made in order to, support him. That's all she had to do, but she didn't want to do it. And she doesn't want to do it cuz like the money is about her. So it's just kind of sad. It's just very, very sad to see, I think. But it sounds like if she's reached out, guys, I guess it's true because she's only reaching out because her dad may be dying and then it looks bad because she never reconciled. Like, it's so pathetic. It's so pathetic. Oh my gosh. But, you know, she'll always have, I think, again, when it comes to her public reputation, because Meghan wants us to love her. She wants us to think of her as this beloved person. But she really needs to make inroads with her family and her in-laws in order to make that happen. And even then, I still think, like, how much of it is real and how much of it is just for show? And now she can, let's say, reach out because he's almost dying, and now it doesn't really matter anymore, does it? Because he can die, she can look a little bit like the hero, and then she can go back internally to hating him again. That's maybe a very pessimistic outlook. That is my personal opinion. But yeah, I just don't think she cared. She only cared when they started reporting it. And then she's like, oh, I guess I got to figure out if he's okay. But then I got to sell my chocolate bars. I got to, look like I'm successful here in my business. And then I maybe will reach out to him because she just doesn't, I think, care enough to really, reach out to her family. I don't think she cares enough about them. They are not important to her because they don't fit her view of herself. And she likes playing the victim and she can't really play the race card if her dad is white. She feels like she can't. And so she doesn't really want to have an issue with him. So I'm wishing Thomas Markle obviously all the best, but that's a pretty devastating injury at that age or pretty devastating complication. So I mean, to be quite frank, I will say it doesn't look very good. I don't even know how good the healthcare is there in the Philippines, but it's not looking particularly good. And if he can't travel and she most likely won't travel, he'll never see his grandkids. He'll never see them. Or she'll be so worried, he'll monetize me and the kids while she also monetizes me and the kids. She can't stand on her high horse of privacy when she violates her own privacy all the time. She can't do that. So to me, this is cynical. This is just a cynical outreach. She looks bad publicly. So, Diz fan says, "Thank you so much for the super chat." She's a narcissist. I can relate, especially family. Yeah, she's definitely a 50,000 gazillion trillion percent a narcissist. That is what she is. She kind of leaves misery and devastation in her wake. That is what she does. I find her to be a miserable person. I find her shows to be rather miserable because I think she's rather miserable. But so Jay says there are good hospitals in Cebu, Philippines, but they are rare and it can be very expensive. That's kind of my concern because if you had the money, that was kind of my thought. If you had the money, you might be able to get some pretty good hair. But if it's healthcare, but if you don't have a lot of money to say that, it's going to be challenging. And then the other challenge I think is that when it comes to it's just his age, the obesity, the health complications, those kind of things together, it's just not really a good at that age, it's not going to be a good health outcome, I don't think. So I feel like I always answer this question, but it's always good to read for it. And so Wes says, Brittany, why do you call Catherine Princess of Wales Kate? It's a bit disrespectful. It's not. William used to call her Kate too. I think people need to, this is not a battle worth fighting. This is not really a battle worth fighting. It's a little silly, in my personal opinion. And yeah, so sometimes things have to be short to fit in a title, and that's just what we're going to do. We're not here to coddle. This is not a fan channel. This is a news channel that needs to get picked up by other outlets as well. So that is what we do. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about With Love Meghan, the death throes. So that's what we that's oh, and the chocolate bars. Let's talk about the chocolate bars real quick. So I didn't say it, but I definitely think it. I was like, I'm surprised that she's with all the salmonella Sussex talk. I'm surprised that she showed a video of herself, although it's down now. Video of herself in the chocolate factory. I'm like, okay, you just got criticism for oh, what does she do? She just got criticism for like not properly being healthy when treating a dead turkey carcass. And so now she's in a chocolate factory with her hair down. I'm like, somebody's going to find a long black hair and there's chocolate. I would almost guarantee you that. But, anyways, so she did come out with chocolate bars. And I saw that and I was like, okay, this is kind of dumb, but very Meghan. She should come out with stationery. I don't know. I don't understand her obsession with perishable goods. I think that's a crappy business model. Perishable goods means that you can't have them, hold them forever. You must sell them. They you'll run out of stock. I just don't understand. I don't get it. I don't get it. Don't get it at all. I think it's really I don't understand. So here were the offerings. And so the first one is a dark chocolate bar with her raspberry spread and sea salt, $12. Now, I'll give you guys a little bit of my theory here too, just before, but so yeah. So raspberry spread has this like floral thing. And again, I feel like this floral thing doesn't mix with the rest of her branding, which is stark black and white. Here's the thing, Meghan can't seem to stick to one particular branding. To actually really sell this, I think, to kind of fit with the branding she does, she should have made the background black for the candy bars instead of white or cream or whatever it is. Yeah, it's just kind of silly. And then we have this one sounds really disgusting. White chocolate bar with flour sprinkles and hemp hearts. I don't even know what hemp hearts are. What are hearts? Hemp hearts are nutritious shelled inner kernel of hemp seed. Oh, that sounds really disgusting. That sounds really gross. Now, the only one I was somewhat interested in was the milk chocolate bar with shortbread cookies and bee pollen because I personally love shortbread and I love chocolate and shortbread. But then I remembered, guys, but I also thought that would be a little weird in a chocolate bar. I was like, does that even work in a chocolate bar? I'm not sure if it does. But what I really think is like I remembered, oh yeah, but there are also Honolulu Cookie Company cookies that are shortbread dipped in chocolate and they are magnificent. So if you guys want a little suggestion, I would go with Honolulu Cookie Companies if you're like me and you saw that and wanted a little bit of had a little bit of a hankering for shortbread and chocolate. I would say Honolulu Cookie Company. So if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, I will show you right now. They are little in pineapples. And so this is their like holiday one. So they have peppermint dipped in dark chocolate. They have like a cinnamon sugar one this year for their Christmas stuff. So I'm probably gonna get this Melee gift tin. I'm actually doing a hot chocolate bar from our little small group party. I came up with a hot chocolate flavor for people to try. It's called Mela Kaliki Cocoa. Mela Kaliki Cocoa. Put coconut in your hot chocolate, and yeah. These are very good. So if you guys want a recommendation, if you're going to Hawaii, you can get them there. But if not, I think they have one in Vegas now or something. Yeah, they have a Vegas store and on Guam. But pretty much you can only get them in Hawaii. I actually went to the Honolulu Cookies Company store in Seoul once, and they were very impressed because they're like, and you can get free ones and stuff if you order enough. So anyways, just saying that I sort of loved it. And Deep Thought also said here, which is true, what do you think of the copying design for the coronation invitation? For the design of the chocolate bar wrapper, she's desperately for the royal connection. She has no creativity or ideas of her own. Well, I mean, the whole chocolate bar thing is made by somebody else. It's like a collaboration. I don't know if it's that good. Like this company, I just don't know. Parties, I don't know if this is even I don't even know if it's that good. It's just it's so expensive. It's so silly. Oh my gosh, they have this is a collaboration, guys. I would definitely so I looked up the chocolate bar company. They have a Panda Express collaboration. That looks amazing. Oh, sorry. The Panda Express collaboration looks incredible. Like that's awesome. Oops. There it is. Is it like I want to shop? Oh, there's $11.95, so it's the same price. Do they have an orange original orange chocolate bar? That is awesome. Okay, guys, that tickles my fancy a little bit. I'm just curious now if they have, let's say, shortbread. So they do have shortbread ones. Ooh, lemon shortbread. That would be good. That would actually be good. I think that's better than the shortbread and honey. Shortbread and lemon. Now I'm curious. Anyways, so obviously these new chocolate bars for Meghan did sell out. And I'm sure she is there by herself, like cheering on, going, yay, something finally sold out. Something finally sold out. But what would I say is really behind this? So I think this was an exceedingly small stock. I would put it maybe at 100 candy bars each. 100, maybe 200. And she obviously has to split the profits with this company. So I don't think she'll make much off of this. But I think what Meghan wants, and she wanted every single time, and she's just not getting it anymore, is that cachet that comes with selling out. She has really been obsessed for a really, really long time with just like the flash of, ooh, we sold out. It's so impressive, isn't it? It's sold out in 45 minutes, sold out in an hour, sold out in 4 hours. Like she has made very much in several of her talks about as ever has been really, really, I think, hitting on that. And I think she really just cares about the label of selling out. So I'd imagine were exceedingly small numbers, and it gives her a little bit of an ego boost. I think that's really what she's searching for is the ego boost. Not that these are good, not that these actually make sense for her brand. Because I feel like again, even the branding and the she doesn't know what her branding is. She doesn't know. It's constantly all over the place. Honestly, it drives me a bit crazy because I'm like, okay, how can you have this much money, have access to so stinking many, brand experts and these sorts of things, and yet have zero idea about your branding? Like zero. She has no clue what her branding is. And it just comes across as like, if we look here at Meghan Markle's Instagram, you can see here that it's like we have overly done things like blurry and muted tones. So we have blurry muted tones here. But then we also have super blown out. No, that's not the same. And then we have this, which is a little bit starker, I guess you could say. And then we're going with like black has been somewhat her like stuff, but not much. And then we have sort of bright and airy, but then we have sort of old fashioned and blurry to muted. Like this is all over the place. And these are just another addition to the mess of this brand. And the only thing that is actually floating this thing are her fans. And that's it. That's the only thing floating this brand at this point is her fans. And that like nothing else. Nothing else. because none of the rest of this stuff I don't think is particularly good. I don't think it's particularly helpful. And so I'm just kind of, it's just blah. And why chocolate? Chocolate makes 0 sense to me. But we did have a very, very big super chat here. V Queenie, thank you so much for the 49 super chat. She said, Merry Christmas, Brittany, to you and your family. Why, thank you. Merry Christmas to you and yours as well. Thank you for always giving us such great content. Your hard work does not go unnoticed. Love, Harry, Megan's Spare. Why, thank you so much. Love Harry, Megan's Spare. I really do appreciate it. It means so much that we get to chat about all these things. And I'm thinking about next year and what that can mean, and hopefully doing more royal coverage. If you're a member, I got a nice lens yesterday though it wasn't on sale. Lenses do not go on sale, really. I got it, or at least a big sale. I got it it was a damaged one technically, and they fixed it and I got it for a great deal. And I was so excited because I want to bring you guys more amazing coverage. We work so hard. Well, I say we, but I try to give you guys something different, something unique. And I don't always succeed, but I really try. And I appreciate you guys so much for indulging me and my eccentricities and enjoying the coverage I bring. I feel like that's too many eyes. Enjoy what we share here on the channel because it is such a great relationship. I appreciate you all so much. So thank you so much, Harry, Megan Spare. And I look forward to continuing to share with you guys. And I hope you all have, everybody here has a Merry Christmas or a Happy Hanukkah or what have you. This is just such a wonderful time of year and so great to connect with family and friends. But I don't know what friends Megan has because they would tell her that none of this works. Like, even in this little bit, and she's like changing things. So this looks a little bit different. These look bright and airy. And then these look dark. I guess you could say, now that I'm thinking about it, I guess you could say she's changing things up based on the season. But that's not the case here because this would be more in winter and she's all bright and blown out here. These are all the stock images that she's cultivated for the last couple months. Like these were all like her original stock images she got. And then we have summer and then fall and then winter. But this is bright and airy, you could say. And she thinks that people are going to give this as hostess gifts. Like the way you could use this was so weird. It was so weird. So I thought it was funny because she said a few of our favorite things. 'Tis the season to welcome loved ones, which she doesn't. Like she had to be forced to call her dad. Place a beautifully wrapped chocolate bar on the pillow and a gift basket brimming with cozy comforts on the bed to make a guest feel like home. I'm sorry, but who does this? Who does this? I just don't understand. Who like I'm sorry, like, I understand gift baskets, like, people do that when people come in from out of town for weddings and these sorts of things, but if you're just having a friend stay at your house for, like, 2 nights, why would you create a gift basket for them? That's just a little much. Just go, "Hey, I have this in the kitchen," or ask, "Hey, what are some of your favorite things? I'll make sure to stock them up," or if you have any allergies, like, these sorts of things. That's normal. Putting a full chocolate bar on somebody's like, she should run a hotel. She should be somebody who runs a hotel. Like, what? And then she says, "Hot chocolate, warm hearts. Make a homemade batch of hot chocolate by melting down this gorgeous treat for $12, by the way. And you can only use it probably one time. Adding warm milk and setting out a silver tray with peppermint stick stirrers." So not only are you setting out a tray, it must be a silver tray, guys, with a peppermint stick and fresh whipped cream, and watch the kids and parents swoon. I don't think the parents and kids will swoon over breakable cups on a silver tray, Meghan Markle. Who are you talking about? Again, you get the sense of a woman who spends 0 time with her children. A decadent dessert board arranged a selection of chocolate bars in small pieces, berries drizzled with honey, sprinkled with mint, and fresh whipped cream on a wooden board for a sweet after dinner bite. Ew. Ew, that's a little gross. What is that? That's really gross. Is anybody else really grossed out by that? Is anybody else like super grossed out by that? I just find that to be really gross. Oh my gosh. Like, are you supposed to like dip it in something? Like what? What? Yeah, I don't think anybody wants that. I don't think anybody wants that. So yeah, that's bad. It's really bad. It's very unfortunate. It's very yuck. Now, again, I will say I like shortbread and I like chocolate. I think the honey would probably be a good mixture, but I don't want to buy it because it's $12 and it's a freaking chocolate bar. I will buy again Honolulu Cookie Company cookies, and I'll spend $100 and I'll be happy at the clam. And at least, yeah, I'm supporting, let's say, a somewhat small business that's based out of Hawaii, as my grandma says. My grandma says Hawaii, just in case you're curious. So anytime we talk about Hawaii, it's like, are we going to Hawaii? So let's talk a little bit about, which we haven't had a chance, I guess, to do a full review, but I probably won't do one because I honestly don't care enough to. And that is with Love Meghan, the death throes with holiday celebration or something, whatever the heck she called it. I still feel like I want to go through and see if she actually said the word Christmas. But as people have reported, she said the word I 99 times. And then also, what did she do? She did something else too. She had like 12 outfit changes. So one of the more interesting things, like I think, as I'm positive. We have no reporting on this. I'll just share my speculation. You can agree or disagree. I am positive though that this was meant to be more episodes and they were told to condense it into a 1 hour special. The reason I say that is that it definitely had some of the obvious flow issues, horrendous pacing and everything as her original. But it also was like it felt like it blipped through everything so quickly. It just felt like it boom, 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 like so many people. And I'm like, what? Why are we booming through so many people? Like you can't really get to, not that I cared to, but get to know them, know why they were there, what her connection to him was. Like, and Naomi Osaka looked like she would rather be anywhere on the freaking planet than in that house with Meghan Markle. That was not a good, that was horrible. That was horrible. Naomi Osaka, I'm sorry to say, she does not have a TV presence at all. She does not have a TV presence at all. So it's one of those things where it's just really, really, you could say, like, I just wonder what was going on behind the scenes. But my guess would be is that they were told to condense it. I think they originally meant it to be maybe even 3 or 4 episodes, and they had to condense it into 1 episode. It's still dragged. Not even with like just being an hour, it's still really dragged. But it was just also something that was really, really boring and pretentious and out of touch. And you again get the sense of somebody who doesn't really, again, cook, doesn't really host much. And one of the most interesting bits, and I haven't really had time to pull out the quote, so you'll just have to stick with me on this and remind me in the comments if I don't get to the editors, remind me of that in the comments. But one of the things her first guest said, which did really take the wind out of her sails, and I think according to Taz mentioned it, and when I saw it, I was like particularly looking for it. And I was like, or maybe it was the Telegraph or something. Somebody said, and it like really seemed to like, she's like, yeah, like she looked really dead in this one, as if she sort of hated her guests, hated herself for being on her own show and stuff. But when it comes to this particular guest, and he wrote this book about hosting, what he said was that it's about the people, not the things. And what Meghan cares about and what she has always demonstrated she cares about is the things and not the people. And you see this reflected in how she does everything. Like she thinks, I think in some ways, that she's connecting and she's just obviously not. And it's all about the artifice of things looking good rather than actually things being good or things being like helpful, what people actually need. Because it's all about really serving her needs at the end of the day, not really her guests. And she doesn't focus on that too much. And I think that is a detriment to her in a show about hostessing. She should talk about why it's so important to really be a good hostess, what that means. How do you serve people? Make sure they feel, because they mentioned something about feeling seen and heard. There is some truth there, of course, but it's about serving others. And basically, Meghan, anytime she could have served others something, she says, no, they can serve themselves. And I'm sorry, but being a hostess, being a real hostess means you actually do have to serve other people. It's not just about them serving you or you serving yourself. It's about you serving. And Meghan doesn't want to serve. She doesn't want to serve. She doesn't want to help support and lift up other people. She's only interested in doing that for herself. And so I think the whole thing is just an absolute disaster of a mess. And she just doesn't come across, I think, particularly well in it. I think this is actually probably the weakest of the offerings, even though it's very, very short. I think it's probably the weakest of them. And it's just something that it's just a bit, you could say, sad that she can't figure out her own premise. Why would you start something that you just really don't care about? There's nothing wrong with not caring about things. I can talk about this for 2 hours, royalty, and I can talk about history, and talk about some of the stuff going on in politics and these sorts of things, but I can't talk about cars for 2 hours. I could attempt. I would probably say the same thing 12 times, because I only really my only deepest thought about a car is that it must function. It must look at least like nice. And that's about the extent of my thought about cars. And I hate going to service centers. I hate having to call in to get them serviced. I just, blah. That's what I despise. My car really needs to go in and get serviced right now. And I'm just like, keep putting it off and putting it off, seeing the warning light and putting it off. And I'm like, Brittany, you're so lame. But that's just not my thing. And this is just really not her thing. And I just don't know why she decided to do this, because the disadvantage of this disaster is that she has proven again she can't lead a project. She has proven that she's sort of terrible on camera. She can't really do a lot of things. And somebody pointed out, which was interesting, it's up in the chat, and I'm not sure who it was, but they mentioned that, maybe a better actress or a better host could have pulled more out of Naomi. I'm not sure exactly if that would be the case or not, just because some people are just crummy on camera no matter what you do. There's just really not anything you can do to salvage it. But what she really could have done is be just simply a better person on screen. Megan's just not a charismatic person on screen at all. It feels like every time, especially when she does something. Oh, what did she do this time? She likes to do her dumb food puns. Oh, something about fondue versus fondant. And she does that. And it's like, Meghan, honey. Like, I just wonder how long she thought about that, and how, like, she had been waiting to use that. Like, she had thought about it the night before, and she's like, I'm going to use that. And there's nothing wrong with thinking about what you're going to do the next day. Like, I totally do that. But honestly, for me, in my process, and this is just me. So it could be that Megan's different and she must write things down, or she must practice. Otherwise, something really stupid will come out. Who knows? But for me, guys, I like to be spontaneous. I have a general idea of what I'm going to say, but I like to let the natural creative juices flow, because sometimes things flow better when you don't think about them. I had a job once where we did sometimes do a video component, and like, they had a teleprompter for a while. I was terrible with the teleprompter. I hated the teleprompter, but I'm really good on the fly. I wasn't good on the fly with them, but I was like really nervous. And so I just was not good on the fly with them at all. I kept messing up. It's funny now to think I run an entire YouTube channel, because they're like, really, really you? But yes, me. But it's like one of those things where it does take practice. It does take practice. And sometimes, like, to me, the spontaneity results in better things. But I think Meghan's so contrived. You almost get the sense that every single thing that comes out of her mouth has been carefully calibrated and calculated to be, quote unquote, the perfect thing to say. And so it in addition to the fake kitchen, the fake guests, the fake life and everything, it adds an additional layer of fakery to it, Because yes, some of this should be scripted, some of it you should know somewhat what to say, but like spontaneous things and these sorts of things, Meghan doesn't do well. You can tell she's like trying to act for the camera, and that just doesn't work particularly well because she's not a good actress. So it's just one of those things. It's just a crazy one of those things. And this will be the last. There won't be any more. We actually have something very interesting in development for Netflix today. If you haven't heard the news, Netflix is attempting to buy Warner Brothers. Their offer to Warner Brothers for $72 billion, by the way, has been accepted. They would get access to Game of Thrones, Friends, DC. What is it like? What is something else that's been on HBO? I don't know. Anyways, they would get access. They would get all of HBO's catalog. They would get all of Warner Brothers catalog. So like Casablanca and these sorts of things. They would just get a massive catalog of material to stick on their streaming service. Getting Friends alone would actually be a huge coup for Netflix because Friends is worth so much money. People love that show. It's worth so much money. But what does that mean for like small fries like Harry and Meghan as a cog in this bigger machine? Because now Netflix has exerted a tremendous amount of money to purchase something. Some of it will be in debt, some of it will be in cash or like stock options. I don't know how any of this works, to be honest. But they will acquire it. And it's sort of sad because a lot of the bigger Hollywood studios are so Disney purchased Fox. Now we have Warner Brothers being gobbled up by Netflix. This also includes CNN, believe it or not, Discovery Channel, like so much material. It's sort of really crazy. It's insane. It's insane. I don't know. So like this might not go through because of antitrust laws, and Netflix would then have basically a huge entertainment monopoly. So I don't know like how all that shakes out on the business side or within the entertainment industry. But I think what it means for Harry and Meghan is that Netflix will have like say bigger fish to fry and their focus will be elsewhere. Beyond Meet Me at the Lake, we have nothing else that was mentioned as coming for Harry and Meghan in the continuation of their deal. And Meghan made it clear. Oh yeah, Harry Potter was the big one I was thinking of, Harry Potter. And so Harry and Meghan in this sort of kind of whole wrap up together thing is I think they will get well, number one, there's not another company that they can pitch to now because Megan's whole thing was, well, if Netflix doesn't buy it, well, then maybe somebody else is going to buy it. Number one, like most of their stuff sucks. So it's like if you can't sell it to Netflix, which has all the money, you aren't going to sell it anywhere else. Now they have one less studio to sell to. Netflix now has exerted a tremendous amount of money and will be very much focused on how to get Warner's Brothers catalog to work for them, what productions Warner Brother has in effect right now. There's a lot of controversy over the new Harry Potter series because the Sirius Black character, not Sirius Black, Snape, the character of Snape, who is white in the books, they cast a black actor to play him, which has a lot of implications for the future of the series, really. And so that could be really good. It could be really, really bad. And I think Harry and Meghan will just fall through the cracks unless they have something to sell, which is themselves. So they have to sell a divorce, sell themselves as keeping up with the Sussexes. They have nothing else to offer. And I think they're pretty much done. That would be my suggestion in this particular scenario. Again, we don't know how all this stuff works out. It could be like, but I would imagine Netflix is going to be, since it has such a huge catalog, which will help its revenue, HBO Max, if this all goes through, this will take a year, guys. So this is not an immediate thing. HBO Max will be gobbled up into Netflix. So there'll be one less streaming service, which will probably be a good thing. Anyways, so this is a huge amount of chaos and not a good thing, I think, for Harry and Meghan. Now, I did see Avignon. I don't know if you're there, but you reminded me. Did anyone else hear the really weird and poorly edited soundbite about the beetroot get down to beet, which is going to say the salad beets? It was really weird. Oh, she was trying another food fun with beets. Oh gosh, that's bad. That's bad. But you did remind me of something, particularly when it comes to editing. So part of the problem with Love Megan, as with so many of Megan's things, like even her little Instagram videos, profoundly overproduced. Profoundly overproduced. Now, I haven't done the research and maybe I'll just do this real quick. Sorry, guys, I'm typing at the moment. I can't type and talk at the same time. So, because there was a very interesting thing I saw as I was watching through a bit of the credits, which is that on Megan's 1 hour long special, 1 hour long, that woman apparently needed 7 editors to edit that single episode. 7. 7. Most Hollywood productions are edited by one person, maybe 2. I looked up Friends. It said that there were a number of editors per season, but it had a small team with a single editor often handling many episodes or a whole season. So the pilot episode was edited by Andy Zoll, it says. There was a primary editor responsible for maintaining the show's consistency and rhythm and tone across numerous episodes. And then obviously you have somebody overseeing editing. Why did you need 7 editors? 7. There's no reason on earth I can think of to need 7 episodes for that. No reason. Except for it was in production hell. There were big problems behind the scenes. So you needed so many people to manage it. If you think about Friends, they had, let's say, a 4-week lead time or whatever. That editor is doing it like this. But, they sort of know the rhythm and stuff like that. But there should be no reason. Like, she needed 90 people for that show to make it. I'm like, how in the world did you need 90 people? You only needed like 10. But to me, it speaks of editors who were leaving or editors who were fired. You don't cycle through that many people without problems. Like, there's just no way. There's just no way you cycle through that many people in a production like that. There's no reason you need that many people. Like, none of it was particularly challenging video-wise, editing-wise, anything like that. And then you also have the question of all the behind. You also have the question of like, what was going on with this? Oh, sorry. Sometimes I get distracted by the chat, and so I apologize. But I think that also indicates to me, at the very least, that this series was meant to be multiple episodes. This was not meant to be a one-off special. This was meant to be, my estimate would be 3 to 4 episodes, and they basically cut half of it. I would not be surprised if half of it ended up on the cutting room floor, or more than half. Or it was meant to be longer and they were forced to cut it shorter. And yeah, that's sort of what happened. And so it's just kind of a chaotic mess. And Megan's definitely the one who is behind it. She did sort of a video on Instagram of her kind of saying thank you to her like team or whatever. And I'm like, oh, these poor souls being forced to work on this train wreck of a show. And she got again, she's too cheap to actually, let's say, she wrote that so they could put that in post or whatever. And so she has these Our Place boxes. Again, she probably got these gifted. She did not buy it for them. And I feel like that's such a cheap like end gift for people, is to basically get them freebies. Like, that's sort of pathetic. Like, Keanu Reeves worked on the Jack Wick movies and gave them all Rolex watches. Like, you can give a nice wrap gift. I'm sorry, but Our Place cookery is not a nice wrap gift. But that's basically what she did, because she's cheap. She forced them all to overproduce this massive, ridiculous show, and she put bows on it. Like, how lame can you get? Look how lame these bows are, guys. So, do the bigness of the bow reflect their role on the show? I would not be surprised. So, these are all the people, the poor souls who had to work on this dumb show, which was canceled. Like, seriously? Like, you did not need that many people to work on that show. You just didn't. You never did. You never did. It's overproduced. And this is why nobody liked it. It was wildly didn't work. Yeah. Lady Saucy Mink says 7 editors working on an hour-long piece that was shot nearly a year ago, plus those editors aren't fresh out of college. Yeah, makes no sense. Makes no sense unless there was a production hell and people were doing other episodes and then everything had to be condensed into one. So guys, that is it for this more talking portion of the podcast. But now we can get to some of your questions in the comments. But I do want to highlight 2 things here really quick. Wendy Chitty became a YouTube member. Why, thank you so much, Wendy. I really do appreciate it. And we also have Christina, who gifted 1 Royal News Network membership. Why, thank you so much, Christina. I really do appreciate it. So Alice says, I watched Catherine's Christmas program and did not notice that she was announced. For goodness sakes, the whole world knows who the Princess of Wales is. Yep. So Nikki says, you should do a video to address Harry pointing out the mistakes he had done in the past 7 years, which the world can see, but not him. That's a great idea. Yeah, because he says he has basically no regrets and does not feel any remorse for anything he's done. So I'm like, oh, that's not a good look. So TD says, one wears $10,000 outfits. Money has to come from somewhere. Yeah, wee girl is dressed terribly. Okay, she has a nice dress on last time, but the hair looked like a wig. Poor child. Yeah. Yep. It's just not good. So Seabass says, doesn't she have to the last say too? Those editors must have gone nuts. Yeah, probably some quit. And you had the delay in time too, so some people might have moved on to other projects. Like there could be a lot of reason, but it reflects, I think, a trouble behind the production. Jay says Anthony Bourdain had 6 people while traveling on his show, and he made a far superior show than Meghan. Yeah, you can do a lot with a little. She did not need 90 people on that show. I don't even know what they were doing. Like, what were those people doing? You need maybe 2 camera guys, maybe 3. A production assistant, why would you need 90 people for that production? I don't understand. So Marcella says, I haven't watched Princess Catherine's Christmas special yet. It is not available yet. It'll be available on December 24th on BrickBox. Marcel says, can't wait to see Princess of Wales and her family. Yes. Alice says, I suspect they tried to make this better with a lot of editing, but it's useless when the product is that bad. Exactly. You can't shine up a turd. You can't shine up a turd. So the show is just dog doo-doo. And there's just nothing you can do. Let's see. TD says, in Scotland, royals love it here. They often go to small villages. They are never announced. People announce to daft Meghan like she knows this. Yeah. Too Old to Care says, didn't she say she had a crew of 80 for With Love? Yes, that's way too many people. She did not need that many people. I would imagine she has 10 people to produce her little Instagram videos. It's like, you need 1 person, like maybe an editor. Alice says, funny you should mention Anthony. Before Meghan met Harry, her PR team was trying to set her up to do a traveling cooking show. Yeah. Jay says, her editors hate her for keeping the I'm Sussex now bit in the show. Well, she has a last say, so she thought it was fine. Her and Harry just don't have a good grasp on reality. Ashley says her contract included staff pay, wardrobe. You can tell by season 2 and the special, she stopped getting her hair done and wore basic wardrobe. The gifts were definitely donated for promo. Yep. Blue Slade says she needs to make herself important. Yeah. Lynn says she must think more crew equates to the importance of the show. I think that's part of it. I think she has a very diluted, great things are produced. And sometimes it's even great things are produced with a very limited budget and limited staff because you actually you're forced to be more creative and it results in something better. Like her show reeks of bloat on every single level. It reeks of bloat. Michael says that Prince George is well on the way to be as tall as Baron Trump. That would be interesting if he was as tall as Baron. I mean, I'm still hoping he'll be the tallest king in British history. I'm genuinely hoping for that. But I don't think he'll be too tall, but we'll see. Because Baron Trump, what is he, like 6'9" or something insane like that? He's insanely tall. It's like, whoa. I remember seeing him once, because he was like a little kid in the beginning, and so it's like, oh, okay. And then he came out for something, and I'm like, Whoa. And you have that like tall boy thing where they kind of hunch because they're like, they're a little bit self-conscious of how tall they are. And I was like, he's tall. He's unbelievably tall. So uh Lisa says 80 psychiatrists and 10 people for production. The Ocraft said, I heard on other channels 80 people, but not 90, but still she didn't need them. No, she didn't need that many people. Especially every day. You don't need that many people. Han Conservative says Prince George is definitely going to be taller than both his parents. It makes you wonder if he will. I'm hoping he's taller than his dad. Clifford said if it was not shot last May, it could have been for last Christmas, but the problems made it to be shown this year as part of the last gig with Netflix. It could be, I don't know, but it does look really weird. So some of it had to be filmed at Christmas time last year because she's in a Christmas tree farm, and I think that was recent. But beyond that, I'm not sure. Shep says, I think American is an AI automaton robot. Han Conservative says, wonder if Prince George will be the tallest king in UK history. That's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm hoping. Rich says this horrible situation with her father and her refusal to do anything shows what a vile, disgusting, and selfish individual she is. So heartbreaking for Mr. Markle. And, to be fair, I don't think anybody played their cards particularly well, but Meghan just, again, like I just get the sense that her father didn't fit her narrative and she was worried he would not go along with the script she had planned out. And he didn't fit. I mean, she's half his. So she didn't like his look. She probably thought he was too fat. She probably thought he didn't have the look she wanted for her dad. And that's just really sad. Are we sure about that? So not a good look to go without a hairnet and a wig at a chocolate factory. Yeah, it's really not. Especially again after Salmonella Sussex, you would think. April Betts said Meghan's children, if they are her children, will treat her the same way her and Harry have treated their parents. As they learn what they see, they have no respect for Harry and Meghan. That's probably true. You do learn by seeing, and honestly, I think they'll be probably more attached to their nannies because I imagine they have quite a few nannies. That would be my guess. I did think it was interesting that Meghan finally admitted at some point she had a nanny. I was like, yeah, we know, but you acted like you didn't for so long. Sir Squirrel Lot says, it always seems like Meghan is playing the Disney royal in her fantasy world. The reality, if royal life and conduct does not enter into it. Jay says, Meghan can't make a traveling show since she can only talk about herself. Her and Harry do not seem like a curious people. Yeah. Yeah. Angela says Meghan is like Tinkerbell. She needs applause to live. Maybe that's why she needed 80 crew members. Yeah, I'm sure they all knew, yay. Kay Coffee says, or she lied about how many people worked on her show. I don't think she did. She was very proud of that number. And I'm like, why are you very proud of that number? That's really dumb. It's like, again, she thinks the number equates, I think, to how important the production is or something. I'm like, no, it just looks like you had too much money and bloated. Alice says, I also think she's not a good improviser, and not everyone is, and needs a script for every moment. Yeah, I think so. I would agree with that. Because being good with improv, like it takes time. Like that's part of the reason I started the channel, is that I wanted to get better at being on camera and just talking type of thing, and being able to respond better and stuff. And so, yeah, because I thought that would help me in my career. Seabass says he has grown almost as tall as George. Yeah, he's grown a lot. Louis grown a lot. Koala says, hello, Brittany, and hi, Miss Pippa. I'm so sorry I'm late. No worries. Alice says, Prince Louis has grown so much in the last year. He's a young gentleman now. I feel old. Yep. Ashley says 6'9". You're right. Yep. Baron Trump is 6'9". He is a giant. My cat's name is Karen. Says the state dinner pictures are gorgeous. Princess of Wales. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Looks like she still have medieval fairy tale in that Jenny Packham dress and tiara. What a tiara she chose. Yeah, the tiara choice again is very interesting. I did a whole video about that on Royal Fashion News. I'm still really fascinated by that choice. I'm not so sure. I like the dress, but it doesn't excite me super much because I feel like we've seen that dress a couple of times now. But in a blue shade, that's new. Blue Slade says if she gets to a traveling cooking show, at least the kids can fit in a suitcase. Jay says Prince George will be tall given his amazing genes. Yep. Han Conservative says if Meghan's father passes away without her reconciling with him, then the king passing away not long after will show signs he doesn't have much time left. Either it's going to be destroyed the Sussexes. Yeah, I think the family aspects has damaged the Sussexes. Athena says, I think the gray-haired gentleman Catherine was speaking to was a Holocaust memorial Catherine and William attended. That's probably it. I knew I'd seen him before. TD says, royals work long, boring days in the rain, opening and things standing about. Meghan, when you're look at the time in the RF, she was always acting with that grin. Yeah, it's hard to find pictures of Meghan where she's not grinning. She says this all the time. And I stalk through a lot of royal images. I look at them for like, I'm looking for the best image of Queen Maxima or Letizia or Mary or Catherine or William or whatever. The perfect picture to match the moment or whatever I'm talking about. And when I look through for Meghan, it's very frustrating because she has literally the same expression pretty much all the time. Anytime she doesn't have that, it's like, yes. Because the challenge I find with her is that when it comes to her looks, like she has no other expression. And so it does feel very, very fake to me because she never changes it. As she says, I wish she checked on her the bees she loves so much and that's special. Yeah. Uh DMF says she was embarrassed by him. Yes, she was. Koala says, don't forget to buy the Beagle was in the too. Didn't Guy pass away either last year or January? Yeah. Yeah. He passed away. Too old to care says, not sad, but rather shameful. Yep. TD says, even if they did all well, he definitely didn't fit the narrative. I'm one who thinks she was set him up with her photographer. I would not be surprised by that too. Shaz says, the fact that Harry never met him before the photos tell you exactly what Meghan thinks of her father. Very true. I always thought that was really weird. And it's like, why would you agree to marry someone? This is my thought too to Harry. Why would you agree to marry someone if you never met their parents? I'm sorry, but I kind of want to see who the parents are of the person I'm marrying. Unless you're like in a foreign country, their parents have passed away, or there's a good reason why there's an estrangement. I would find it particularly odd that I never interacted. And Thomas Markle didn't say anything until that paparazzi guy showed up. Grace Mark said, they don't. Why are you like this? I don't know. Bobby Strella says Meghan was clearly embarrassed by him and cut him off as a result. She's shallow, vain, and vapid. All that matters to her is appearances, and she'll lie, cheat, and steal to keep that up. Yep. So Alice says, I believe the tallest UK monarch was Edward VII. He was 6'4". So definitely a possibility. I'm really hoping George is 6'5". Then he can hang out and like be on par with his like somewhat removed cousin, King Felipe of Spain, who's also 6'5". Lynn says, I think she always planned to walk down the aisle alone. Prince Charles was initially told no when he offered to walk her. She wanted to be all about her. Clifford said, it shows that Netflix did not really think a lot about Meghan. They just signed a blank check. It's like Spotify wanted Harry, but Meghan took over because as she knew Hollywood, but she is talentless. Yeah, I would agree with that. Lynn said, I'm sorry, I'm late, Brittany. No worries at all. Jay says, no matter how aesthetic her show is, everything rings hollow. Since she's not in touch with both sides of her family, no one wants to take hostessing holiday advice from a toxic person like her. Yeah, it's just kind of, it's kind of an empty, vapid show. Ashley said she is dull. TD says, when someone tells me how hard they work, good they are, or how authentic their actions match, it's all BS. And actions don't match, it's all BS. Yes. Rit says, gives me the giggles when she asks questions, then blinks and looks down to formulate a lie. That's her MO. On says, Meghan believes she was going to be a fairy tale princess in Disney life and only saw Princess Diana media lifestyle, giving her a very false reality. And when Harry, in fear of losing her, didn't tell her either. MJ Clark says, wouldn't it have been wonderful if her father did the lighting for her show? That would have been cool. DMF says, Meghan tries so hard to be relevant. The problem is she's not authentic as she claims to be. Exactly. What do you think William bringing Sophie and Edward's children since Harry and Meghan are out? No, they're too far down the line of succession. They want to keep things streamlined. They will not bring in Edward and Sophie's kids. Lily says, do you think Meghan and Harry's kids will go on Oprah and compare themselves to Rapunzel locked in a tower? Meghan compared herself to Little Mermaid losing her voice. They might. Too old to care says, obviously she writes all her own scripts. They are dreadful. Very true. Very true. Oh, Andrea says, love watching from Toronto. Why, thank you. Eyes of Texas says, Brittany, she ripped off the pictures on chocolate from King and Queen's coronation. I mean, there are similarities, but to say she ripped it off, I don't know if that's quite accurate, but definitely see what you're saying. Marjorie says, Meghan and Harry have zero in common, but now he is in the position that if she leaves him, he has no one. How terribly sad. He once had so much support. Yeah. Are we sure about that? Said, I believe they're going as public as possible, balls to the walls, because they have been told on good authority that the dukedom is done, and Harry's seemed to be under the influence on the show. I don't want to ever say really somebody's on influence unless it's like unbelievably apparent, but that piece was awful. Jay says Thomas Jr. and Samantha are not perfect, can also be harsh, vile at times, but I credit them with sticking with their dad. Meghan is just cruel. She was all praises for Tom Sr. until she met Harry. I mean, to be fair, I think Tom and Samantha are also hoping if they hang around their dad, maybe some of the money will come their way. I don't know. As she says, I hope the tiara becomes her staple, fit for a queen. I don't know. It didn't quite work for her this time. I think it was a little big, so I'm hoping she figures out maybe in the future. I don't anticipate her reaching for it too much. Melanie says my cousin was 6 feet at like 15, and that man is now 7 feet. I'm 5'2". My neck hurts to talk to him. Aw. Isa Texas says Meghan probably meant hemlock. That I would believe. Lynn said, I worry about the stories Meghan will tell about her father when he's no longer there to defend himself. I mean, she's telling him anyways. Shep says Harry had everything. Now he has Meghan Markle. Yeah, not really an upgrade there. Retired in name only says, well, the Duke of Windsor never welcomed to anything. Yep. So Deep Thought said, Meghan first said 80 people when using the crew as an excuse not to film in her own home due to the kids, ignoring the fact that she has a huge mansion. She could have embellished the size of the crew to match. Yeah. Han Conservative says, love that the whales are truly bringing the Edinburgh family and getting the world and media to show their importance to the family by covering them more along with the Tyndalls. I mean, not really. Like it's a family event, so people attend. I don't think it's really about bringing Sophie and Edward in. They're already in. Melanie says Harry married his stalker and she turned her prince into a frog. SR1 says she needed 80 people to deal with her multiple personalities and to fetch her lithium. Ashley says, you need to be humble to be a royal. Meghan is not humble. Yeah. Jay says, Meghan didn't prepare Thomas Sr. for the media like she did with Doria. She wants to keep Tom Sr. away from the royal since he is truthful to a fault and won't go along with her lies. Alice says, I came from a family where every man on both sides except one is well over 6 feet, so I'm just used to talking upwards now. Lish says, Harry mentioned his late uncle, King George III. He didn't mention that he was crazy, and Prince George, Prince of Wales, had to act as regent for him. Yeah, because he doesn't know history, and somebody else came up with that script for him. So Gretchen says, President Trump is 6'3". Of his kids, 5 kids, Tiffany is the shortest, and she's 5'8". Yeah, most of his kids ended up being pretty tall. So it's very impressive. But Barron definitely takes the cake. He's a tall boy. So we'll just go ahead and wrap up here before too long at about 5 o'clock. In Gel Athun, Boyle says, compare the chocolate design with the coronation invite. I mean, they have similarities, of course, but I don't know. Like, there's some things where it's just nothing new under the sun. My issue is that the branding just doesn't even match. She says South Park is still 100% spot on. They got her number early on, hollow inside. Alice says, I just looked at the People magazine article that Meghan reached out to her father. I believe Meghan sent the press release. Her holiday show was mentioned. Children were identified by title and age. I mean, they do tend to do that in news articles, but still, yeah, I would not be surprised. Marie says, is it possible to block out stories about Meghan and Harry at least until the end of the Christmas season? This is time for peace, joy, and love, and they're doing nothing to promote this. So this is not a fan channel. This is a news channel. So we follow the news, whatever it is. So there is no kind of blocking for whatever reason. It's news. So whatever is news, and that's sort of kind of it. P Pacific says, can we raise a glass and toast to Catherine on another outstanding Christmas carol? This is her day. Just a reminder. Melanie says, my grandkids helped me personalize ornaments and put those person's presents and personally wrote little bits on cards. 9 and 10 years old, they enjoy it and don't know how long this will last. That sounds so sweet. That sounds really, really sweet. Jim Doman says she totally ripped off the coronation invite. I mean, she probably did. I don't know. Rediscover with Sharona says, evening, Brittany, Merry Christmas. Question, where did Catherine get the earrings since she wore for tonight? So she's had them before. So I think it's Robert Paulson jeweler. I can't remember. It's Robert something. So let's see. So, of course, that's not what I was looking for. So, her wedding earrings were designed by Robinson Pelham. So I got part of it right. And so he designed two. Oh, there's these one earrings he designed that I really, really wanted, but didn't get. So let's see. So they kind of have, can't remember if she has the stars on the end or the beginning, but this is a designer. And he's the one who designed her wedding earrings. And so those are the ones I believe she wore this evening. They're the Czar Star. She might have had the stud at the top. I can't remember. Yeah, I guess she would have had to. So, or she had these ones. Either way. So she wore these to the James Bond premiere. In case you're curious. Yeah, Lynn Gideon says the chocolate wrapper looked more like Easter spring packaging. I agree. I think the packaging was all wrong. I think the packaging was really, really wrong. So Melanie says Parliament is not needed to remove titles. Charles just proved that with Andrew. Yes, he did, and I wish they would do more of it, to be quite honest. KO says, I really don't like that King Charles is leaving William to deal with the aftermath of Harry and Meghan, like Queen Elizabeth did with Andrew. Why would you force your own son to suffer the same hardship? I think that's a very, very true point here. I think Charles should feel an obligation to deal with his son. And yeah, it's not going to be pleasant. And yeah, it's he's not going to be happy. And yeah, you're going to have to deal with the fallout of that. And yeah, it's going to be unpleasant. It's going to be all sorts of things. But sometimes that's just what happens. Like, and discipline is not a bad thing. Like, I feel like Harry needs his bottom smacked a little bit. He's never really had his bottom smacked, and he really needs it smacked a bit. And then he might go, oh, discipline done with the right reasons, right intentions, right, attitude towards it. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. So Melanie says, have to go feed the horses and clean the stables. Later, Gators. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you. Enjoy feeding those horsies. Give them a little pats for us and maybe a little bit of an apple or a carrot. We do have here, Flapper said she had to copy from somewhere for her chocolate wrappers. Yeah. And again, I totally believe or would argue that they were like, it is all the wrong packaging. Like it's spring packaging. We're in like the dead of winter. It's just so weird. Alice says, I suspect thing may have happened behind the scenes. We know nothing of Andrew's titles going, and then it just happened, so it could be any day. Yeah, I'm hoping all of a sudden we're sitting here and everything's fine, everybody's good, and all of a sudden, bam, titles dropped. But the difficult thing here is it was much easier for Charles to do it with Andrew, in part because Andrew agreed to finally do it because he had no other choice. But the reasoning with Harry is more complex than Andrew, because the reasoning for Harry is that of everything he's done against the royals and everything, like you have to do it that way. But when it comes to like Harry's just going to be a lot more complicated, I think. It's going to be a lot more challenging because it's not just, oh, he might have done some criminal enterprise. It's, oh, he's damaging our brand. He's going outside his role. He's inflicting harm on the monarchy. That's why we need to strip him. But it's not like a cut and dry thing as much as it is with Andrew. And so that just does make it just a wee bit more complicated, but hopefully your evening is not complicated. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you really enjoyed it. I so enjoyed hanging out with you guys. Have a wonderful day and weekend. Some of this stuff might, let's say, show up later. I'm not sure, but I have a very busy day tomorrow. So, and then I have Sunday and I have a couple things I got to work on. So we will see what happens when. So guys, thank you again so much. And I shall speak to you very, very soon.